everybody. Welcome to the Mexican Soccer Podcast and El Trio Online. I'm your host, Hugo Bernal, and today we have a special show. By the way, we're broadcasting simultaneously in the channel of the Soccer O.G. El Buen Max Bretos is in the house today. We're going to be broadcasting simultaneously in his channel in El Trio Online. So a special show today, everything that's going on in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. As I said, I'm your host, Hugo Bernal, and today we have a gang, pretty much. We have Max Bretos, el buen Don Ramón, Fernando y el buen Super Mojado, como siempre. ¿Cómo andas, Max? How's it going, man?
Siento de lo más bien, Hugo. Great to be with you guys. And again, to collaborate with El Trio Online. We've been able to follow USA-Mexico games over a couple occasions in 2021. We went our separate paths. And just relieved because just finished watching both these games. And I think the supporters of El Tri will say the same. Got a little hairy there. But the U.S., it was their best performance by a long shot. Big concerns about Christian Pulisic. Ricardo Pepi didn't play. But they get the 3 points. And that's what they say. Survive and advance, they said in the NCAA tournament. It's kind of the same in the CONCACAF Eliminatorias.
Same thing could say the Mexican fans, I would say, or Fernando's going to prove me wrong. Fernando, are you okay, man? Are you okay? Is your heart beating fine? No problems after Mexico?
Disappointed. That's it. It was ridiculous.
You have to go with the 3 points, man. You got the 3 points, and we're okay. We're okay right now.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. The 3 points don't matter at the end of the day. They're not playing good, and that's what concerns me. But
All right, as you can see, we're going to have lots of guests today. Max está aquí. Super. How's it going, man? Are you satisfied with Mexico?
Oh, man. It's I've been saying this for a while, man. It happened just as I was thinking. Jamaica is always a tough place for Mexico. And, I didn't like what I saw, and it's just going to be tough from now on.
All right, interesting. El buen Don Ramón nos acompaña hoy. Don Ramón, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Saludos. Yeah, no, it was a tough game. Eerily similar to their first game of World Cup qualifying in 2021. Jamaica took the lead, and then Mexico had to claw their way back up for the win. So happy for the win. Like Max was saying, you just got to get the points in advance. So that's all we can really care about, and let's move on to the next game.
So as you can see, we're going to have lots of guests joining us today and talking about everything going on. So let's start with Mexico first. They get the 3 points, but as Fernando said, or Super said, disappointed. Is it really that bad? Is it because when they're going down 1-0, is it something that we should be concerned for El Tata to be looking for a new job, or is just part of the game and give him some credit to Jamaica? Max, what's your intake on this?
I think the big problem was when they were down to 10 that you would figure Mexico would find a way to unlock Jamaica. But this is a tough place to play. And I don't know why people think that all of a sudden traveling to Jamaica or Honduras or Costa Rica or whatever it is supposed to be easy. There's some nouveau way of thinking that everyone thinks you're supposed to get points there. Well, history says that's not the case. Because they didn't have Chucky, because they didn't have Raul, although I like Funes Mori there, and obviously Henry Martin came off the bench to score the goal. They had some good options. Two goals is a nice tally, and obviously Jamaica was pretty tired. It's a kind of wipe your brow moment, but I always thought because of the injuries and some of the concerns, if Mexico got a point here, that would have been good for them. They have a lot of home games coming up. I think they're going to win most of those home games. They're going to qualify. And that's what made the goal by Martin so massive. And obviously, Alexis' goal is a sugar on top. Now, if obviously they're not going to part ways with Tata Martino until the end of this cycle if it got really bad. But this would have made it very difficult. So he's going to be sleeping well. And for Mexico, this is a good example of just staying on course, looking for that goal to get the result. And they got it. And they got it in a big way.
They did get it. But Fernando, he said he's disappointed. Fernando, I know it's tough to say it, and you've been calling it. Tata should be out. But still, do you call it the same? No, you forget everything about consistency and then just keep playing whatever Tata Martino is doing?
I think they just got lucky today. I still stand by the fact that Tata should not be there anymore. I finally agree with Super. Funes Mori is not meant to be in the selección. He did not convince me today. And they missed a lot of clear opportunities that shouldn't have been missed.
A few, Fernando. Not a lot. They didn't have a lot of good chances. They didn't have a lot of clear chances.
They had enough to not be suffering towards the end of the game. They could have been 2-0.
Tata Martino out should have been the solutions before the game?
You talk about consistency. Their consistency has been playing bad. That's what they've been consistent at, So, yes, I think they should have been out a long time ago. But la federación, all of a sudden, no tiene los productos de gallina, man, to kick this guy out. Because it's not a solution. It's not going to change. It's not what he does right now in the qualifiers, right? The qualifiers. We are used to do this, in the qualifiers. We're going to advance to the World Cup. There's no doubt about it. But what is going to happen in the World Cup? Nothing. More of the same. So this guy is not the solution.
This is what, by the way, saludos al buen
mismo cosa, quinto partido.
It is. El Gerardo Fisher nos manda saludos y dice, Bretos en aprietos el Don Flamingo. Imagínense que México jugara los 90 minutos como los últimos 10. Nos podemos imaginar cosas chingonas if we want, really, but it didn't happen. It hasn't happened. Let's take a look at how Mexico jumped into the field and figure it out. What could have gone better, or what's the solution? Because I know we're missing the Chucky, we're missing Raúl Jiménez, and if you ask me, I would change a few names in there too, especially in the midfield. I wouldn't put probably Guardado, even though he's going to the World Cup, and even though he's going to show a lot of experience into the field, but I would put somebody else. Max, what do you think? Who would have changed for you?
Guardado, he's done really well with Real Betis. The midfield has been the big concern for me for Tata Martino. You're just trying to find a group that works. It's going to be 3 guys. I know against the U.S., I liked the idea of Herrera, Alvarado, and Romo, but they were out of position a lot defensively. That was a different challenge against the U.S. Charlie, I always feel like he's going to come through. He was okay here. He was okay. Hector Herrera is always going to be the calming influence. Whatever the trio is, I think Alvarez will have to be there long term. But it always feels like they can get 2/3 of it right. It's that third piece that has to fall into place. I don't think it's Guardado. I don't think some of the older players from Mexico are doing as well as they should for the squad. I think it's screaming at times to bring some of these young players. And I'm talking about Guardado. I'm talking about Memo Ochoa. I thought Memo Ochoa could have done a little better on the goal. I thought Memo Ochoa could have done a little better on some clearances. I've been saying that for a fair bit. This is the group they're going to do, but it's when you get an opportunity for some of the young players like Antuna and for those to come in and Charlie and the guys like that, you would like to see a bigger of an impact. There's just something that doesn't fit right there. But the midfield is going to be key. The only consistent there, even though he didn't play Alvarez here, but Herrera's there. I just think they got to find the right guy who's going to be that third prong because they've come so far. They're not close enough to determining who that guy's going to be full time.
Don Ramon, el Lainez, el efecto Lainez. He made it happen a little bit. At least, he got a few crosses and a few movements, a good foul right outside the box. He's part of the solution.
I don't know if having him start is the solution. I think he came in at the right time. Tata wanted to give Antuna a little bit more of a chance, and he was doing well in the first half, but it's the same story with Antuna. He has the speed, he has the picardia, and he's able to get by defenders, but he can't finish the plays, whether it's a cross or whether it's a shot on goal. And so that's the frustrating thing about Antuna. But Lainez came in, he made a difference. He was getting by the Jamaican defenders. He got that foul right near the box. So he made the difference. It's el efecto Lainez,
It is happening. So, like it or not, as everybody said, we have the 3 points in the pocket. So Mexico, like Max said, El Tata's going to sleep through the night with no problem.
I don't know about that.
He'll twist and turn a little bit. But like I said, this was the game they had to get behind them. And a point would have been good. A win is great. They're going to do well at home, whether it's a packed Azteca or whether it's empty. They're going to do well. I still think Mexico finishes first here in the Octagonal.
Oh yeah. Is that what it is?
With this win, for sure.
But hold on though, because I don't agree with them doing good at home. That Azteca has lost their some power,
magic,
if you want to call it their magic. Yes.
I said it this
called
week,
it
and
out.
I agree.
No, he's just saying it.
Right?
He's just saying it.
He's
No.
calling out-
Garcia Aspe.
No, Hector Herrera was talking about, we don't feel the same at home like when we go away, other places. We feel el estadio. Over here in El Azteca. So basically he was calling the fans out.
I think
but the opponents feel the Azteca. The opponents, that's the problem. They're terrified to come in there because they know the mythology and the history of the place. They're worried about coming in. It matters what Mexico thinks, but it's for the mindset of the opponents.
But not so much anymore, Max.
It has to do a lot. It has to do a lot with the fact that
Fernando, let me just listen. In El Azteca, los rivales, the opponent has lost respect for Mexico. They have faced them like better than you can than I can remember, right? Because they've been losing at home lately. It's not the same anymore. They're
not in World Cup
Go
qualifiers.
to Azteca,
not in World Cup qualifiers
anymore.
It is true. Not
Yes.
There's plenty of games coming up, especially.
Yes, they did. They tied Canada just recently.
You said they lost. No, but you said they lost, and they know.
I think
I can see where you think that, but I can see where you feel like it's moving. It's not as dominant as it was. But I mean, they beat. I'm looking at it now. They beat Jamaica. They tied Canada. That's obviously a disappointment. But they killed Honduras. Those are the home games. They haven't had enough home games for us to determine that. Those home games are coming up now. Also, 4 games.
If by imponente you mean like people throwing things at the players and stuff, it's not going to happen because it's getting stricter and stricter, and we don't want that to happen. And you don't want people yelling at the goalie with that word. But anyways. It's something that we have to see with the games coming in. And as Max said before, you have plenty games to go in Estadio Azteca, and we'll see if Mexico is going to come out. It's interesting to me that you said that Mexico is going to come out in first place in this World Cup qualifying. But let's move on to the next game, which also had us talking a lot about it, that the U.S. won. Let's just put it that way. Max, 1-0. Are you satisfied? You were mentioning it to me. Well, yes. Las Tata Martino, I'm going to sleep through the night, but what's the but that you have to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of concerns. You get the win and the players were happy, but El Salvador, I want to say something about El Salvador. I have a lot of respect for Hugo Perez and what he's doing. That team doesn't quit. They had some chances to tie this game. The USA looked like they had already won it, and they missed some chances. They could have had more goals. Certainly should have. The surprising part was Jesus Ferreira starting in front of Ricardo Pepi. I thought Ferreira played well, but he missed 2 good chances. They weren't easy, but he should have put one of them away. And then Anthony Robinson scored. Weah missed a shot that he should have done better on it. Weston McKennie missed the header in front. Jossie Zardes missed a header in front when he came in. There were misses. But the big concern to me out of all this, and we're going to find out more about Ricardo Pepi, although I think he's going to probably start these next 2 games. What's going on with Christian Pulisic? Christian Pulisic was the first player subbed in this game, and you were screaming for it. He was turning the ball over. He just didn't. He looked like he was scrambled. And to me, this was a carry-on from his Chelsea days. The games at Chelsea have kind of taken the joy away a little bit. And he's not the only Chelsea player that I think looks that way. There is a joyless element about playing for Thomas Tuchel. It works, and that's all that matters. But I think he thought he was going to come in here and be a star. He tried to do too much. It just wasn't his night. Weston McKennie was great. Musa and Adams were good, not great. They were much better in the last window. It was a puzzling result. I hope it's just a situation where the players hadn't played a lot. But I will say this. The American fans have been screaming for the European-based players to play. And they played in this game. You had Ferreira at the top. That was the only exception. And you had Walker Zimmerman and Matt Turner, who is officially now an Arsenal player. He'll soon be an Arsenal player. All the other were the European guys, the young players that were going to take us to this World Cup. And across the board, Pulisic, Weah, who had a good game. He was the lesser of the evils. Aronson came off the bench, didn't do much. Dest was a bit rudderless. Anthony Robinson had a good game. Those guys have to do a better job, and they should have put this game away, and they didn't.
Right. Well, you mentioned an important point. First of all, let's take a look at how the U.S. jump into the field, and it's important to talk about Christian Pulisic, because you mentioned even though after today, as you mentioned, it's a bad night, he's a hero of the United States, and we cannot call it some other way, at least for the next year or so. But so a bad night it's normal for anybody.
That's fine.
Exactly. So there's nothing to be concerned about. You're just mentioning the situation, and today wasn't the night. That's it.
Well, I will say that this was a byproduct, and we should have seen it coming. I think this was a byproduct of his time with Chelsea, where he's playing at right wing, or he's playing as a false nine, or he's playing as a number 10, when he kind of plays the position he played here today. And it just wasn't clicking for him. I just think he needs to clear the head space and get a bit of a fresh start. It's going to be tricky against Canada, against an artificial surface, but hopefully this is a one-off. Thankfully, he's healthy and he can carry on. That's always the big issue with Christian Pulisic. I would like to think this is just a one-off where he wasn't able to perform at the level he would like.
He definitely looked really frustrated, man. He looked very frustrated.
Important game coming up for the U.S. Ramon, what do you think of the U.S. and especially were you waiting for Pepe to jump into the field?
I was looking forward to seeing him, especially since he made that big move, and I don't think he has been able to score yet since he moved, but I was looking forward to him. Ferreira had that really big chance that I think it just grazed his body. He didn't even really have a good chance at it. But the Pulisic thing, if you guys listen to the Soccer O.G. with Max Bretos, he constantly talks about it, how Tuchel isn't playing him in position, and I think that whole Chelsea mindset of just playing mind games with the forwards and everybody there just to keep them on their toes to continue to perform, I don't think is working out for Pulisic, because whenever he comes back to the U.S., I think his confidence is down, and it's up to Berhalter to bring it back up. And it worked last window, but you saw in today's game, I think he was just maybe frustrated. Was it with himself or the game itself? I'm not really sure, but hopefully he can pick it up against Canada. That's not going to be an easy game. Alphonso Davies is not going to be in that game, so it's maybe a little bit easier, but I don't think it's going to help at all if Pulisic is not in the right form and right state of mind.
Before we jump in with El Super y Fernando, real quick, we have some comments, and they're asking everybody really here, but I want to see what Max Bretos has to say. What do you guys think are the chances for 9 points in this window? And I'm sure they're asking about the USA, but let's ask for everybody, and Mexico or Canada. Is any of these three big ones? Let's take a look at the US schedule, and if they have chances for 9 points. Max, do you see 9 points on the pocket for the USA after all these three games?
They have a shot. They have a real good shot, but this game doesn't cover you with confidence by any means. Canada, it's not going to be as cold as perhaps the two home games for the U.S. there. That was going to be an advantage. It's going to be in the middle of the day, I think at 3 o'clock local time. So it's not going to be the nasty, nasty cold that they could have faced in Hamilton, Ontario. Honduras is now going to be a little trickier. Honduras, as we are recording this, are losing to Canada. I'd like to think they don't have Alphonso Davies that the USA can go to Canada and win. But there's something about this Canadian team. And if we underestimate them, it's at your own peril. They play hard. They play for their coach. They have an attitude. And it's proving itself again in San Pedro Sula. They are the one team that doesn't seem to have any problems kind of getting these results. It'll be interesting to see if they can hang on, but I wouldn't underestimate them. So I think you'd have to say that Canada is the favorite in that game. And I am a USA fan, and the way we played against El Salvador, if we tie Canada there, I'm going to be pretty happy. So I don't want to overreach and say 9 points. I would have felt more comfortable about 9 points 2 hours ago, but right now I'm feeling 7 points. Get them and go.
There you go. We'll do it. On the other side of the table, though, we have two Mexicans that are black and white, and I want to see what they say about the schedule. Let's take a look at the schedule first. Lineup, but the schedule for Mexico. Fernando or Super? Is there a chance that Mexico is going to come out with 6 more points out of the next 2 games?
It's very doable, right? After getting these 3 points already, it's very doable. But again, they're leaving Jamaica with a lot of doubts, And like I said, I don't like the way they play at home. They for some reason it's like they lost that that winning mentality at home. El Azteca is not a like a safe zone anymore for them. They have to actually fight. They against Jamaica, it was not an easy win that game at home. And we all saw what happened with Canada, that they couldn't beat them. So I don't know, man. If they can win one out of these two, I think it's golden for them. The other one,
7 points for Super. Fernando, what do you think?
7.
I personally thought that the Jamaica game was going to be the toughest one out of all the 3 games that Mexico's going to have. And 2 hours ago, I would have told you, no, they're going to end up with 6 points or 7. But after today, I think they could take the 9 points. Although I'm not convinced by their performance today. I think that being at home is going to help a lot. And I have to disagree with Super. I think maybe right now in these qualifiers, El Azteca's not being such an influence because of COVID, because of the people not being able to go to the stadium because of the chant. I think it has to do a lot with people not being able to fill the stadium up as hard to play as it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Fernando and Super, a quick question. I think that's a good point about the COVID, and we got to take that into consideration. But because the way Mexico are playing, do you think not having fans, they're going to probably be a little bit rowdy and unhappy? Do you think that might help them in some way at home to kind of ease back into it and get these results in 2 games that they should win? You always want the crowd there, but maybe you still get a home field advantage at Azteca because of the travel, because of the altitude, and a few other elements as well. But do you think there could be an edge, for the Mexican players, for their well-being, not having a full stadium?
I think so, because I thought it was mentally draining for the players to have the fans doing the chant and having the game being stopped. And I feel like they weren't able to fully focus on the game. So it is going to help them a lot.
I think right now, because not having fans right now, I think it's actually going to help them, because when you have players like Héctor Herrera coming out and calling you out, saying that, yeah, you're a fan, that you're not doing your job. We go to other countries and they make you feel like you're, visiting the opponent. And at home, for us, they're like, oh, you guys basically don't have what it takes. And you're basically insulting your fans. And in a way, I felt insulted, because it's like, listen, why don't you do your job on the pitch, and then you can talk. Right now, you can't call the fans out and say that you're not doing enough, because they are not doing anything.
Don Ramon, real quick, before we jump into the comments, 9 points for the U.S. Or 9 points for Mexico. Any of those two get 9 points? What happened to Don Ramon? You're mute.
I muted myself. Yeah, I think Mexico has an easier path. Costa Rica's not as great as they were in 2014. Panama is the only one that I would maybe be a little bit scared of Mexico not winning. But the U.S. is going to face Canada. And like Max was saying earlier, they're the toughest opponent that they're going to face in this window. So most likely Mexico gets the 9. I think the U.S. comes out with 7.
There you go. So going back to the comments, they're telling us, Cruiser, by the way, send your comments, guys. Whatever you're watching us, we are able to read every single comment live. So Cruiser is telling us, I know why. It was freezing. Their bodies were not as agile. The ball was harder and did not play well. Well, it was cold for everybody, really, and we'll see. Pete is telling you it depends how they do against Canada. Yeah, that's the key game. But the altitude and pollution was always part of the Azteca advantage, not just the crowd. It's true, though. But, I mean, it's also against Mexico, because many players are coming back from Europe and they're not used to la altura ni la contaminación. And Jason is telling us 6 or 7 not beating Canada. So there you go, 6 or 7, as Max said. If there's 7 points, Max is happy. We'll see what happened with those. Let's go take a look at the table for the qualifying in CONCACAF. As Max said, Canada is playing right now. They're winning, if I'm not mistaken, still 1-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
58th minute.
No, we don't have the standings just yet.
By the way, today was the day I found out pollution in Spanish was contaminación. What a great I mean, I'm learning. I'm still adding to my español every day, you know.
This segment is brought to you by Inglés Sin Barreras or Spanish.
Mira, el problema con Azteca tiene polución o contaminación y altura.
But you know that one thing about that, they used to play at noon too, and that's when it really hits you, man. Right now, the
contaminación.
Yeah, I mean, no. The
heat. Okay. I knew that. I was pulling your leg there.
Max, when you get to Mexico for the US-Mexico game, that's the first thing you should tell people. La contaminación. It's just
contaminación. No puedo creer.
Oh, we should make
a headache.
We should create a supporting group now, a supporting fan group. It's called La Contaminación. That sounds
a death metal band.
Anyway, so we don't have the table yet for the CONCACAF, although
it's Canada, 19 points for Canada, 18 for the US, 17 for Mexico, top three. The closest one is actually Panama with 15 points, depending on what they do.
One game to go, and they're going to go.
The Honduras game is on in the background, and Honduras has got most of the ball. They've had a few more chances, so I'd like to think they could score here. If they don't, that's an incredible testament to Canada, and that means they could really, without their best player, be the team that finishes in first place in this CONCACAF qualifying, which would be an incredible story.
It is true, and also another comment that they're saying. Den is telling us, "I respect for El Salvador. The team never gave up." It's important to talk because we've been talking about Canada, Mexico, the U.S., but it's important to know who's going to come for the fourth place and more likely get the ticket to the World Cup, because this World Cup, it goes against Oceania, if I'm not mistaken, el repechaje. But so we have Panama, we have El Salvador. That's going to be interesting.
Well,
Panama's going to finish fourth. Sorry, go ahead, Super.
The only ones that are really fighting right now, it's Costa Rica and Panama. Depending on what happens with the game, that is already it already started 0-0. If Panama wins, then they're gonna get up to, I believe,
17, right?
No, 17 points.
17.
Yes,
there you go.
Up to 17 points. So that's gonna be 7 points difference between Panama and Costa Rica. And pretty much, I would call it right there. I would say that it would be Panama or in the third place. There will be whoever ends in third place. Right now, that's Mexico.
In fourth place. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So that would be the battle.
Well, if you have to remember as well is that Mexico's only ahead via goal difference, and right now they had one score on them. So if Panama gets the goals in against Costa Rica, Mexico might end the night in fourth place. So that's
true.
Jamaica with the loss are probably out, but USA, Canada, and Mexico all have to pull here. I don't think Costa Rica will get back into it. Far be it for me to say it. If they beat Panama here, it makes things interesting. But Panama is the closest pursuer to the top three. So those three countries are all pulling for Panama to come off the back wheel. They're dealing with some COVID, but Panama always seems to find a way. I think they will finish. I think they'll finish fourth. But a word about El Salvador. If Hugo Perez keeps this trajectory, he has this team very fit. They looked fitter than the U.S. down the stretch, which is crazy talk, but they were still running where the U.S. were not. If he finds a couple of more dual nationals there, and he had guys that came in like Eric Zabaleta and Alex Roldan, if he can get a couple more guys like that, and some are in Europe, but they had the Dutch midfielder whose name escapes me right now. They could be a World Cup team when you look at the World Cup expansion in 2026. They could be a World Cup team.
That's basically what they have. That's what they have to aim to, because I mean they're down with 6 points. I think it's almost impossible for them to catch up, man. I think they're just
they won't.
They're done. So that's what they have to aim. And you know what? I'm a little disappointed over that, because what they showed in the Gold Cup, I really thought that they were going to be a contender in this octagonal, and it didn't happen. It's almost like, they forgot how to play, the way that they were playing that tournament.
You're right, Super. You're right, Super. But they got a little bit of that identity back here tonight against the U.S. I saw that Gold Cup team, and I saw that team that played well early on in the qualifiers before I think they ran out of some steam, but they collected some new ideas again.
But you know what? I think tonight, yes, they did a good job, but they didn't do that job during the previous games. That's what killed them. You know, tonight's game, yeah, they could have at least tied this game, but what they didn't do before is what really just doesn't even give them a chance now to catch up.
Well, it's part of what's happening in CONCACAF, la inconsistencia, and that's part of what's going on with all these teams. That suddenly they have a great World Cup qualifying, and next cycle they just have nothing. Jamaica is one of the examples of that. We're gonna take a break. Don Ramon is gonna be taking off. So, Don Ramon, a few last words, a few comments before we see you go for today. But I know we have important things to talk about. Mexico, the U.S. You're going to be following during this World Cup qualifying for the remaining games. What else should be looking forward for the Mexican team and the U.S.?
When it comes to Mexico, I'll stick with them for a little bit. For more players to get healthy. Jimenez came with a little knock. Lozano is going to be coming back from suspension. I would encourage the Mexican team to mask up, so they don't get any COVID tests before the game. But I think Mexico has it. I don't know why Tata continues to play Chaka. I absolutely
he came in due to an injury.
You could have played him, and he did a lot better job. But
I'd rather play with 10 than with Chaka on the field.
Apparently,
coming in strong.
Exactly. Johan Vasquez was scratched off due to a technical decision, but then you see Araujo basically giving up the goal for Jamaica. So I don't know what Tata's thinking. Hopefully the players can overcome his tactical mistakes, but I look forward to a great game this weekend, and hopefully they can get the other 3 points and make it 6.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us today, mi buen Ramon. And we'll see you on the next one. All right?
Talk to you guys later.
All right. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back.
Hi everybody, this is Joe Rodriguez from El3 Online, and I am going to show you how you can play our free Liga MX Fantasy Pick'em, also known as the Quinela. Once you're on L3Online.com, go to the navigation menu and click on the Liga MX Fantasy Pick'em. The view that you're looking at right now is on the desktop. But before you play the Quinela, what you got to do is register. So if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you can click register, and it's going to allow you to give us your name, email address, and register for that specific fantasy game. Alright, if not, you can go back here to the navigation menu, click on register, and you can also do that, or click on login if you are already registered. Once you're registered and logged in, you're going to get this option right here where you're going to be able to select your predictions. You can do so by clicking up or down, or by simply typing in the number. But you have to click this button right here so you can save your predictions. Alright, so remember to click on that save button. The game is completely free, and we're giving away prizes. First, second, and third place all get a prize. Now, the way that the results are tallied is that you get 5 points for a correct result, win, lose, or draw, and also 3 bonus points for the correct score. Basically what that means is that if you pick 1-1 Necaxa and Monterrey, if the game is a draw, you get 5 points, but also for getting 1-1, you get 3 bonus points. Now if the game is 2-2, you would get the 5 points because you got the correct result, but not the correct score. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this. If you guys have any technical issues, email joe@l3online.com. And also, we want to ask you to continue to help us grow by supporting us simply by subscribing to all of our social media platforms, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and then also right here on the right, you can see the newsletter as well. We really appreciate your support. We hope that you enjoyed this free game, and thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Welcome back, guys. Remember to follow us on every single social media platform you can find us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube, of course, and subscribe to that channel. Today we're broadcasting simultaneously en el Soccer O.G. con el buen Max Bretos acompañándonos hoy after a crazy 2 games of Mexico against Jamaica, getting the victory for the Mexican team, and the U.S. getting the 1-0 victory over El Salvador in Ohio. So we're back with the gang. Max Bretos is joining us today, as we mentioned, and we have Samara today. How are you, Samara? Thank you for joining us again. And I heard you have some news for us, so what do you got?
Hey guys, good to be here. Thanks for having me again. So yeah, pretty much some news following the game. The team is expected to travel back tonight around 10:30. They'll be arriving at the High Performance Center in Mexico at around 3:30. And then I did want to mention that like tomorrow they're going to have a práctica regenerativa where they're going to be evaluating Jorge Sanchez because he did come off with the injury, but it's most likely that he will be missing the next 2 matches.
I don't think it's going to be that much of a concern for El Tata Martino. I think he has plenty other stuff to be concerned about, right?
I mean, they earned the 3 points, so definitely there's some injuries there, but I think he'll be all right in the meantime.
Have you seen anything on social media? Because right here, just on the break, I was going through, and I see a lot of heat on Tata Martino. Did you see anything important there?
There was. The fans were obviously not happy. Whatever I saw on Twitter, fans were not happy. But, what's important here is the 3 points. And obviously the fans don't want Tata to continue, but Tata is set to take the team on the road all the way to the World Cup. Who knows? But if in the next games he doesn't earn those 3 points and the next 6 points, then I don't know, he might not stay.
Max, are you one of the guys that would come out with the axe and chopping heads right away after not being so happy like this, or you're a kind of guy who's going to go for consistency and let's just give him a chance?
If I see good signs, then I will support them. We've created a bit of a culture where we support some of the U.S. team and we don't support. I know that's a lot of this, what happens all over the world. And I know talking with you guys, that's how El Tri is judged in many occasions. But we're still a very young fan base, but it feels very splintered. I wish we could all come together. And the reality of it is you get a win like tonight. It wasn't pretty. It's like an old pair of sneakers. They get the job done. But you got the win against El Salvador. We gave El Salvador some credit, but I wish we would rally around them a little bit. Feels like we're way too pessimistic, even though we're in a position to qualify. And we need a reminder that 4 years ago, we missed the World Cup. So it's nice to have a team where we're going to bring in a young player like Luca De La Torre, who didn't play here today, or in the past, Gianluca Busio or Chris Richards, who had a solid game. When we develop these players, but there's a process to it. We still need that core group of players. We've also had a very anti-MLS sentiment. It's like people count how many MLS players are on the team, and if it's more than 3, it's a disaster. MLS is a league that has been a big part of building this U.S. men's national team. Most of those players that went on to Europe have an MLS tie-in. So I think we got to be a little bit more fair. I think we got to give Berhalter a little bit more credit. Not all the credit. He's made mistakes. I think he's learned from his mistakes, but I think he gives these guys a fair shot. And I think in the big picture of things, has done a pretty good job. When you look at the U.S., like right around 10th in FIFA standings, their success against Mexico this past year, and their position for the World Cup. So I didn't feel good about this result, but I'm not going to sit here and kick the door and complain endlessly on Twitter and say this guy should have played or this guy should have played. We got to support the squad, and they got the victory. That's it.
It is important. It is important. There's 2 important games. Actually, the next one, it's vital, I would say it. Any players that you would just make sure if you were in charge of it that they have to play, like Ricardo Pepi, for example?
It's interesting with Ricardo Pepi because He's been he was incredible. The game against Honduras, he saved us. He had the 2-goal effort. I forgot who the opponent was. I want to say it was Jamaica possibly, but don't hold me to it. But he had a 2-goal game. And we gave him the number 9 shirt, but it really isn't his to have. He's got to continue to produce. And even though he made this move to Augsburg, I was a little surprised he wasn't in the starting 11. I thought Jesus Ferreira played well, although because he's an MLS guy, he gets criticized for not being elite. Although he missed these chances, I thought he played well. But Ricardo Pepi hasn't scored, I think, in 6 qualifiers. He didn't really score for FC Dallas down the stretch of last season. And although he's only played a couple games for Augsburg, he hasn't scored. He's a number 9. He hasn't scored a lot of goals. So on form, you can't just say you're starting every game. He might start the next 2. Jossie Zardes came off the bench, not Ricardo Pepi. That was surprising as well. But I think I'm confident in Ricardo Pepi, and I like to see him in that position. But him not starting here is not ring the panic bells. He hasn't been playing well. He's been playing, which is good, but he hasn't been playing well, hasn't scoring goals. But he's there. Sometimes you got to sit a guy a little bit so he can see the perspective. Make sure he knows it's not easy, because it isn't.
Make sure he earns it. All right, let's read some comments real quick. Connor is telling us, just got home from the USA game, and as Ohio native, I'm used to the cold, but man, it just felt colder and had about 5 to 10 miles per hour wind. Maxi is telling us MLS out. Bloody occupying our European squad. Gerardo Fisher is telling us, do you guys see making el quinto partido with this team, assuming we qualify? I think we mentioned this question goes for the three Mexicans on the panel today, but the question goes, it shouldn't be a question if we're going to qualify at this point. Do you guys think it's a question?
No, like I said earlier, I think it's almost like a law that Mexico has to qualify in this in this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is, and if they don't, I mean, I think they should stop playing professional soccer. But anyways,
are they making it to el quinto partido? Then that is a question.
No, that's the biggest question. Like I said, if that's why we're calling for Tata to be out, because he's not the answer. I don't know what the management saw in him that they thought he was a solution. He could make this team play like, really good. But I think still that he's not gonna take us anywhere. More of the same, man. More of the same.
Fernando, more of the same. Let's take a look at what's coming for them, even though they're playing in Azteca.
I think if they play like this, starts, they're not even gonna make it out of group stage. But I still have hope that Tata Martino is gonna get the boot sometime in March. So at least Mexico can have a process of 6 months before the World Cup with the qualified coach. But
Samara, give me the good news here. Is Mexico making it to the quinto partido?
No.
Samara, this is for Samara now. You want to kick El Tata Martino already?
Yeah.
We have to, go step by step. We have to see first if they're going to make it, obviously, and if Tata Martino is going to continue, because he is still with pressure, because John de Luisa said he expects 7 out of 9 points. We still have 2 games to go, so there's nothing guaranteed. We don't know what can happen.
Max, who goes further then, Mexico or the U.S. in the World Cup?
If Mexico makes a quarterfinal, it's going to be a team like this that no one expects anything out of. That kind of slips in there. They almost did it in 2014. I don't think folks had high expectations for that team because of qualifying. And they were this close. And if they got to the quarterfinals, they would have played Costa Rica. They could have made a semifinal. I know they didn't make it. They can fix some things. They don't have the talent of the United States and the European influence. There's no question about that. But because the World Cup is in Qatar, it's going to be a little different. It's obviously the draw is going to determine a big thing. But because it's in Qatar, I think that takes away a little bit from the dominance of the European and the South American teams. They have a shot. USA and Mexico both will make the round of 16 in my estimations because of the location of the World Cup. Kind of like with South Korea and Japan. When the World Cup was in in a location a little bit off the beaten path, it helps the world teams. We saw that in 2002 with Korea and USA and Senegal. So I think USA and Mexico, Canada maybe not as much because they're not going to be seated very high. But USA and Mexico, I'm confident later this year we could be talking about the World Cup and they're both there, or at least one of them's there in the final 8.
There you go. I mean, it makes sense completely. I can see the U.S. also with the La Mano Bajita just moving through and doing some important things. But it's up. They still have to qualify, and they have important games coming up this weekend. Let's read some comments because I think some of the comments are coming from your channel, Max. Antonio Banderas. Wow, I feel.
He follows the channel.
Yeah, lucky. Although his profile picture, he looks a little bit like SpongeBob's friend. But Mexico got lucky. What a stinker. Why not Julian Araujo?
They did.
Yeah, they did get lucky. But anyways, no, Efrain Alvarez.
He makes a good point, though. I want to see some of these young players get a shot. Yes, I want to see David Ochoa get a shot. I think Memo Ochoa is not doing them any favors. Julian Araujo is a good option.
No. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we've talked about it during the whole season. If the U.S. is going ahead on something, even though they just showed it on the pitch, it's not only quality soccer, but it's also they're putting the young players ahead and they're giving them a chance, and the young players are giving results. Something that Mexico is really not going for it. Really, we still see Memo Ochoa y cosas así.
You have Tata Martino that doesn't like the young players, man. He has them right there. You got Acevedo. You got a lot of players that could definitely do a good job here, but he just is not into it, you know. And just by the way, Canada 2-0 winning right now.
There you go. You can see.
By the way, Canada's up 2.
Yeah. El Super is coming with the news right now. So. Young players.
Canada's the best team in the region. We can argue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, at least they're playing better for now.
No, definitely. I think they're the team that coming into this octagonal. A lot of people saw doing great things, and hey, they're not disappointing at all, man. I mean, being in first place now, who would have called that?
They're the best team in CONCACAF. They're missing their best player, and they come out and do this. And we talk about how hard it is to win in CONCACAF. Canada's making it look easy. Going to the Azteca and getting a point. Going to Honduras and it looks like getting all 3 points. This team is blowing off every expectation. And if we think the U.S. is going to go in there and beat them, the way their spirit, the way they attack this, we're crazy. 9 points. Yeah. I don't think I think it's a pipe dream for the U.S. And it's because Canada is so much better right now. They are answering the bell. Jonathan David scored a goal.
That 9 points opinion, it changes very, very quickly, Max. I see that.
I've gone from 6 to 7 back to 6.
Yeah, and I don't see them getting a point. Honestly, Max, I don't see them getting a point in Canada, and especially now that they needed a defender to come and score a goal for them to get the win.
It's not gonna be on, so that's an advantage. Samara, you have the update for the yellow cards for the Mexican national team because there was a few, I believe.
Yes, I do. So on this match, there was no players that earned a yellow, so Chucky is going to be back for next game. He's going to be available. And the ones that still have 1 yellow from the qualifying is Nestor Araujo, Chaca Rodriguez, Luis Romo, Hector Moreno, and Tecatito Corona. Other than that, all the rest of the players are on the clear.
So if any of those players get a yellow one, they'll miss the game against Honduras.
Yes, they missed the following match.
Sorry, Samara. Can I ask this question to all of you guys? We talk about the shortcomings from Mexico, and I know Raul Jimenez is coming back from a huge injury that a lot of people probably could never come back from, and he may never come back from. But is one of the big concerns for Mexico when they're playing, or any combination of when they're playing, whether it's Raul, Chucky, or Tecatito, they're not getting the productivity from these guys. Game in, game out. These are supposed to be game winners.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why they were trying to get it out of Rogelio Funes Mori. But I've been saying this. He even came out and said it before this game. I am not Mexico's solution, and because everybody's like is expecting that he was gonna come in and the team was gonna change and it was gonna be so easy scoring goals. It's not. He's a player that, in my opinion, his prime has been gone, long gone. 3-4 years ago, I would have said, hey, definitely call this guy because he's in his prime. Right now, it doesn't look good for Mexico.
You're talking about Funes Mori?
Yes, Funes Mori. And
he shouldn't be a featured player. He's the apprentice if Jimenez isn't there. I just think Funes Mori had to be the guy today because of the suspension and the injury. But those three guys that we talk about, they just haven't done it. I can forgive Raul Jimenez because of the injury, but the other two guys, and Chucky's had his injuries too, I should say, but it's just, and it's a bunch of things. They just haven't been able to get it all together.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why Tata thought that, by bringing Funes Mori, he was gonna try to encourage his players to do better. But it's all wrong. I mean, I know you're not getting productivity from these three players, and then you bring Funes Mori, that doesn't add to it. It's like instead of three guys that are giving you half gas, you got four guys that are not doing anything for you. And
is there someone out there that can? And don't say Chicharito. Is there someone?
No. Let's ask Fernando. Fernando, who else is out there? Because I have a few answers for that, but I want to hear Fernando's.
At this point, I think my only option would be Santi Jimenez.
Santi Jimenez, it's all right. Super.
He's not even a starter, man.
But anyway, it is a name. It is a name. And let me put it this way: even though there was a really bad injury for Raul Jimenez, still a really good player, and he's showing it, and he's coming back still. We'll put a star in it. El Tecatito, he's now back in Sevilla. He's now in Sevilla now, and he's going to be playing a little bit more. And El Chucky, to me, still he should be in the starting 11 for El Tata Martino. It doesn't matter who else is there.
And all these guys are doing well with their clubs. They're doing relatively well. I mean, obviously Tecatito changing clubs, but Chucky's playing well at Napoli, and they're having a great season. But that
youngsters might be the solution. Let's take a look at what Marcelo Flores just posted right now after Mexico's victory. That means he wants to be part of it, and there's time for it, and there's time for El Tata Martino to call him, and there's time for him to get a shot and probably take it. He's supporting the Mexican national team, and he wants part of it. Don't you guys? He's part of the solution. He could be part of the solution.
Exactly. I think that he should bring him along. Bring Marcelo Flores, and I know we joke around with Chicharito, but I think he needs to be in this squad. I think
you chose Chicharito over Santi Jimenez.
Yes, definitely.
Going out already.
Definitely.
He's probably gonna retire in 2 years. I don't know what you expect.
But you're not looking for right now. What you need is somebody that can put the ball in the net, and this is a guy that is.
Give it a chance. Give a chance to the youngsters.
Past year.
No, I think Chicharito, he's been out of La Selección for what, a year and a half, almost 2 years. He's gonna come back, and he's not gonna be playing well with the rest of the team. He hasn't been part of the process.
No, what I think is for Marcelo Flores, he's posting these kind of things. He's asking and putting his hand up and asking El Tata Martino. But as Max mentioned before with Ricardo Pepi, he has to earn it. It's not like, people want it. People are tweeting on social media, please bring him in. He did already once for a friendly game, which I thought it was a perfect game for him to play. He did get some time. He didn't start. And let's see what develops. But it has to be with the patience and with the time, but also it has to be fast. So it's a balance here. And bring the youngsters and give him a chance. And El Chicharito, super. I know you're a Chicha lover. But it's not a solution, man.
I agree with you, Hugo. And right now I feel like Mexico is kind of like desperate. And that's why, the fan base. And that's why I feel like they want Marcelo Flores because he's young and they see the U.S. doing, bringing their young players in. But the fans do want Marcelo, but right now he's with the sub-20, and there is a process. In my opinion, I think he still has like some room to grow and earn that spot in the main team.
What is
if
it?
he doesn't get that chance though, and that's I don't see this coach giving them opportunities. Just the same thing with Ochoa. I mean, Acevedo has been raising his hand for the longest time with great performances. And
Acevedo's a slam dunk for me to get in there.
No,
Flores is too. Well, Flores is too young, but you got to start bringing these guys along.
Yes,
I think there's a lesson to learn about looking at what the USA are doing.
Bring
them along, give them a taste, give them some minutes, give them a start. By the time they're 2021, they're ready to go.
But this is not going to happen.
Mexico has the talent. Mexico has the talent. They've got to process it better.
This is not going to happen while Tata is coach. So what's the solution? Kick him out. Get him out of there.
I'm surprised he's lasted this long. And I'm a big Tata guy. I think he's a good coach, but it hasn't worked. And I mean, look at the 2014. How many managers did Mexico have? Like 5 in that World Cup qualifying. So, I mean, Mexico has a short fuse with this, but they have been very patient, which has surprised me. And they're going to continue to be patient. Again, I still think Tata's okay. I think that's pretty fair. I'm just surprised about that because normally we see El3, you get a couple bad results, the players kind of check out on you. It's over, but it's been there for Tata still.
Raul Reyes is asking, who y'all gonna get if you fire Tata?
Man, I would hope to get Guardiola, but that's not gonna happen.
Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Eriksson again.
Or Bora Milutinovic. Who knows? Bring it back from the ashes.
He's still playing with Tigres, right?
No, he will go for anytime.
I think he actually has
Salvador
in his
Hugo Sanchez. Hugo Sanchez or el Vasco.
No, Hugo, please.
Oh man!
All right, guys. I think we made it. We made it to the end, and it's funny that we all joke about it, but it might happen. And as you said, Max, it's funny how they've been patient after disaster qualifying like 2014, and this is happening because victories like today's, where Mexico just grabbed the 3 points in the last few minutes, and that's what it is. Pure oxygen for the Tata Martino.
If getting 3 points in the last few minutes was easy, everyone would be doing it. So we could sit there and say they were lucky, but Mexico did it. It was against 10 men, but they did it. And now they positioned themselves where they have 4 home games in their last 5. They're going to get, I know you don't think they're going to get the results super, but it's still a Azteca to me.
No, like I said, it's very doable, but I would have gotten them to this place easily,
Come on, Super. We're having a serious talk.
Oh, man, easily. I mean, so this guy is not really showing us much.
Antonio Banderas is telling us that Tata staying y Ramón se conectó y dice Piojo o Tuca, Hugo, so he can win his World Cup. It's not going to happen.
I'd love to see that. He's too old. He's too old.
Hey, remember, if he picks another selection, he will be champion.
No, but forget
Tata would be the only coach that would manage to get Manchester City all the way at the bottom of the table. That's just how El Tata is. He sucks.
That's too harsh. Tata has done some incredible things. He may have lost his fastball, but he's still a good coach.
I don't know about that.
Samara, if you get to pick what coach besides Tata?
I don't know. I liked when Piojo was coach. I'll go back.
It has to be a Piojo type guy that comes in and just kind of cracks things up and.
Yeah, you cannot go and
makes them run.
Fighting reporters in any airport. You cannot do that.
But if that gets the results, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
I agree, Fernando. I agree.
Almeida is not happy with the earthquake, so.
Oh, come on. You're going to bring Almeida to the.
Hugo, just to turn it from El3, I just want to say something before we check out of here. I'm really excited about this new rivalry between the USA and Canada. It's always about Mexico, United States, as it should be. But this is the big, I hear Super Mojado laughing at. This is the way, but we need more rivalries. And Canada has changed this qualifying where we're going to be really excited about a game at 3 p.m. Eastern time on an artificial surface in Hamilton, frickin' Ontario. And everyone's going to be tuned in. So a new rivalry is developing. Canada's not going everywhere, and CONCACAF is going to be better because all due respect to Panama and Costa Rica, if Mexico, USA, and Canada make CONCACAF in this World Cup, they're going to be there in the next World Cup. We already know that. This is going to build into something bigger because, hey, 3 is more than 2, and CONCACAF was screaming for a third country to come in. So although I really want to beat Canada on Sunday, I'm still happy that they have reached this level because it changes this qualifying process. It changes CONCACAF. We have the best left back in the world in our region, and they have Jonathan David, who was the guy who scored tonight, second goal, one of the best strikers, $40 million player. This is a new day for CONCACAF, and enjoy the game on Sunday because it's going to be big.
It is true. It is true. And also, we hope they continue with that consistency because 2026 is just around the corner. So
we're in trouble for that.
We blink and we're going to be here. It's going to be here. So, Max, what's going on Wednesday? You want to tell me something about it?
Yes, Wednesday, we will be live. We're still putting the final touches. Hope to be at Tony P's and Maria Del Rey. We're going to be live from the bar, and we're going to be with USA and Mexico supporters talking about the games. After they conclude, we're going to put a bow on the final qualifying date of this window with El Tri Online and the Soccer OG. If you're in LA, check our handles here. We'll give you more information so you can come down to the bar. We hope to give away some stuff. We can have a beer afterwards. It's going to be a fun day and something new. Because look, the World Cup's going to be here soon, and El Tri Online and Soccer OG and everyone here, Samara, Fernando, Super Mojado, Ramon, Hugo, we're all going to be part of it. We're going to make some money, and we're going to go to Qatar, and we're going to put this sport on its head. And we're hoping to make El Quinto Partido.
There you go. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Just don't tell the Super Mojado there's going to be free beer because, that just doesn't work out.
Super, I will have a beer with you any day, my friend.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Great show we had. So was great games also, and there's a good weekend coming up, and especially next Wednesday, we're going to have a live show from LA. Remember, everybody, thank you guys for joining us today. Esto es El Tri Online, together with El Soccer OG de Max Bretos.
I like El Soccer OG. I like
El
that.
Soccer OG. La contaminación.
La contaminación en Azteca es muy malo.
All right. Also, just go on our website. I want to remind everybody for the Liga MX Fantasy Pick Them. Great game that you can play, and we're gonna announce every winner every week in eltrionline.com. Also, if you follow us on social media, or if you don't, go on social media and follow us on every single platform. You can find us El Tri Online, subscribing to that YouTube channel, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Coman frutas y verduras. Gracias por acompañarnos. Nos vemos en la próxima.